Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Terrence Wall. I'm thrilled to be here with the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce ChamberCast. This would be the summer edition, I think, right?
Absolutely.
This would be the summer edition. So we're here in gorgeous Bell Works, the masterpiece of Ralph Zucker and the folks at Inspired, and we certainly want to big shout out to Mr. Zucker and all the fantastic things he's doing. And I wanted to also thank Ming, who Podcast Universe, Shared Podcast Universe. You always have everything set up so perfectly. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Jeannie Wall, who sets up these programs every single month. Every single month. Thank you. I used to say my name is Terrence. I used to be Terrence Wall. Now I'm Jeannie's husband, and I like that just perfectly fine. In a couple minutes, we're going to go around the room. We're going to sit down. We're going to get started. But I wanted to give a round of applause for our fantastic, powerful, grit, determination, leadership, all in one, Carol Stillwell. Thank you so much for being here.
Terrence, thank you so much. Obviously, what could I do? I couldn't be where I am here today with many of the people that are sitting here, so I'm excited just to be here. They took their time to be here then when they could be running marathons, they could be running their office, they could be paying bills. Oh no, I didn't want them to pay any bills at Stillwell-Hansen, just collect checks. I made a mistake.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I'm so happy that Carol could even be here because you know why? It's 100 degrees outside. And what does that tell you? Stillwell-Hansen knows what they're doing.
We sure do when we're very busy.
Right. So listen, we're able to spend some time here, and her team is out here today too. So round of applause for her team in the back.
Team Stillwell.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about life, and really it's love and legacy and things of that nature. As we sit down and get started, we're going to go around the room in a moment, and then I'm going to introduce our guest more from a little bit of the biography. But it's not so much about the biography today. It's about Carol Stillwell, the person. And you're going to leave today having a better understanding of her journey and how that may impact the thoughts about your own journey. And we're all in this world together, right?
We certainly are. We came in this world together. We're going to wind up in the same place together. We're all going to be at the same address.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. And so,
Trust me.
Of that we can be certain.
That's right.
So here, sit down. We'll take a seat. We're going to get started. And Jeannie, if we can go around the room so folks can introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Saran Jennings. I'm from New York Life, and I do financial planning and help small businesses with helping their employees with their benefits.
The pillow helps.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gail Bonus, and I'm the Administrative Specialist with the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning. My name is Therese Rolke. I'm the Executive Director of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very happy to see everybody here. Thanks for coming. One quick thing. Today's a double header, believe it or not. So Carol's the main speaker here today, but she's also the exclusive sponsor at our women's luncheon at Jumping Brook, which follows this. So if you have nothing else to do today, come and join us at Jumping Brook for the women's luncheon. It's not just for women, but smart men too.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Neal. I am a women's empowerment coach, and what I do is I work with newly single women, and I help them to rediscover their authentic selves, reclaim their identity, and rebuild a life they love on their terms.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dorothea. I am the owner of Zando Financial, a local financial planning firm. I'm also the co-founder of the Victor Zando Foundation, a local nonprofit here in Monmouth County.
I'm her husband.
I like that.
Smart man.
Hi, everyone. My name is Will Murnan. I'm the development manager at the Arthritis Foundation, helping the arthritis community in New Jersey.
Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Debbie Hepdig. I work for HabCorp. We house the homeless and people who may be facing homelessness. And that's it.
Good morning. I'm Ann Mohammadi. I'm a corporate strategy consultant on the board of Lunch Break and the Monmouth Park Charity Fund.
Good morning. I'm Gary Olivero. I'm community volunteer leader for the American Red Cross.
That's a long walk, Jeannie. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tara Demianovich, and I work for Community Affairs and Resource Center, a nonprofit located in Asbury Park, Lakewood, and Freehold. And we have over 10 programs that help people become self-sufficient, including homelessness prevention, lead remediation, and food insecurity. Thank you. Tara Demianovich.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Linnell. I'm a retiree after 42 years working for Bell Labs. I used to work here, as a matter of fact. And I'm a volunteer and trustee of the Shore Athletic Club.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dorothy Ferlanti, and I'm with Mary Kay. I help women look better and feel more confident. Wait, are we all introducing ourselves? Okay. Well, my name is Cecilia. I'm just here because I want to network.
That's a fantastic
That's what
reason
we're
to be
here for.
here.
Thank
That's
you.
a fantastic reason.
Good morning, Ann Davis, Counsel for Stillwell-Hansen, and the Stillwell-Hansen team. They'll introduce themselves.
Robin Griggs, Director of Operations for the Stillwell-Hansen Company.
Nancy Toy, Service Sales, Stillwell-Hansen.
Gabrielle Carasone, Marketing Manager at Stillwell-Hansen.
Chris Fitchadomity, Senior Account Manager, Stillwell-Hansen.
Christina Smith, Accounting at Stillwell-Hansen.
Team here, that's awesome.
Belinda DeCastro, Financial Controller, Stillwell-Hansen.
There's 70 people in Stillwell-Hansen.
Good morning, Jean Baronello. I'm proud to say I've been with Carol for 40 years.
Woo! Thank you, that's awesome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Caitlin Miller, the President and Chief Hospital Executive at Bayshore Medical Center.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Marissa Medina. I'm the Executive Director of the Foundation at Bayshore Medical Center. Shout out to Carol, who's a treasurer on our Board of Trustees.
Debbie McCochet, part of Director of Pharmacy at Bayshore Medical Center.
Good morning. My name is Teresa. I work at CSAV Systems. We're located in Colts Neck, and we provide audio-visual systems for different businesses.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Jocelyn Graham. I'm with 180 Turning Lives Around. We help domestic violence survivors in multiple capacities in Monmouth County, and we also have a second floor program, which is youth mental health. We now have an app, and it is for the entire state of New Jersey.
Thank you.
Hi, Al Aloisi. I'm on the Board of Directors for Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. I'm also independent insurance broker, and what that means to you is I shop around to find the best rates for life insurance, health insurance, and annuities. Al Aloisi. I also play the piano.
Yes, and Al was on the piano. Thank you, Al.
Woohoo!
Good morning, it's Sal Folletta from Mazza Recycling, providing trash recycling service in Monmouth and Ocean County, also construction containers. My sales team, Anthony and Drew.
Hi, everybody. James Davis, General Manager of FC Monmouth, Monmouth County Semi-Pro men's and women's soccer team representing the county nationally.
Hi, everybody. I'm Irene. I'm a portrait photographer, and I help you celebrate your unique story and create beautiful portraits. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Williams. I'm from Monmouth Habitat for Humanity. We're serving all of Monmouth County now, and we build homes and hope for vulnerable communities and vulnerable families.
Hi, Russ McKeever, Connections Unlimited, providing computer support for small businesses in the Shore area for 25 years. I'm also an active public historian. If you want to find me, you probably can find me at Law Street Farm, at Allaire, at the Parker Homestead, or any baseball field where you find a bunch of old guys wearing funny clothes. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? My name's Jeannie Wall, and I'm publishing Tap Into. It's a great place to market your business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And when I'm not hosting this fantastic podcast, I'm the Vice President of Marsh McLennan Agency. I head up the Public Sector Division, which is government, education, healthcare, and nonprofit. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. It's so important that you're here, and you're going to leave with just fantastic information and inspiration. So indulge me a moment because I want to read a couple of bio elements so you have some perspective and the history, and then we're going to dive right into it. And then we're going to, towards the end, we're going to open it up for questions. So think about what your questions might be, because this is truly a master class in leadership and women in leadership and getting things done, and grit and determination. Carol Stillwell is the owner and president of Stillwell-Hansen. It's a leader in data center infrastructure solutions, including power, precision cooling, fire protection, and traditional HVAC products. She joined founders Gordon Stillwell and Paul Hansen a number of years ago, rising through various roles in the company before becoming president in 1996. Under Carol's leadership, Stillwell-Hansen has consistently had the honor of being named one of New Jersey's top 250 companies. That's a big, big achievement. While Carol has been recognized as one of the top women business leaders in the state every year since 2019 until the present day. Her most recent memorable highlights include, among many, but a sampling, New Jersey Biz Icon Award winner, recognizing business leaders over 60 for their business mentorship, so important, and philanthropic contributions to the community. Recognition by 180, turning lives around for her dedication to the community. And you'll hear a pattern of support for nonprofits and their endeavors across a range of important issues in our communities. Receiving an honorary degree in business from Georgian Court University, a 2024 honoree for CARC and Mustaches for MS, multiple sclerosis. And there's so many different endeavors from entrepreneurs on multiple sclerosis today, and we're going to have a podcast on that very, very soon. New Jersey Biz Lifetime Achievement Award for the top 50 women in business. Thank you for being here. American Cancer Society, and we have Red Cross here too. 2024 Humanitarian Honoree. Reigning 24 MRCC Athena Award winner. A fantastic event from the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. Carol has devoted her life to many philanthropic causes, as most of you already know in this room, in a heartfelt mission to improve the lives of others, paying it forward, paying back. Recent efforts included supporting 180 Turning Lives Around, Ashley Lauren Foundation, Bayshore Hospital Foundation. Thank you for being here. Big Brothers Big Sisters, Brookdale Community College, and all the great work David Stout is doing over there. Right? Amazing. CARC here, CASA of Monmouth County, Collier Youth Services, really, really looking out for the next generation of young women. Also, CFC Loud and Clear, Count Basie Theater, Georgian Court University, Hackensack Meridian Hospital Foundation and their team, Holiday Express, Jersey Shore Partnership, Mercy Center, Monmouth Conservation Foundation, Monmouth County Historical Society, Monmouth County SPCA, Monmouth Park Charity Fund, Monmouth University, Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, SCAN, Tigger House, Mustaches for MS we mentioned earlier, United Way of Monmouth and Ocean County, and Valerie Children's Center at Monmouth Medical. Also the MRCC Beacon of Excellence Award in 2024, Holiday Express Philanthropic Award in 2024, 2025 Applaud Our Kids Humanitarian Award, 2025 Scouting America Patriots Path Council, 2025 Labor, Construction, and Real Estate Awards, Dinner Distinguished Citizen. Carol is graciously assisted in her many philanthropic efforts by her twin sister, Mary Ann Larkin. Carol is also the proud mother of Scott Belford and his wife Megan. She is also very proud of her grandchildren and her godchildren. And in her limited spare time, she enjoys spending time in beautiful Napa Valley. And if we're lucky, she's going to tell us about the honorary mayor of Napa Valley, Gordon Stillwell, because just a fun fact, and I confirmed a little earlier, there is a wine tasting room that is still to this day a tradition at the company. So how about a round of applause for all that information you just heard? We're going to jump right in. You know, folks talk about this word legacy, right? They talk about, what's beyond, what are you doing, what are you leaving behind, and all these kinds of things. But you know, what's really interesting is, when does a legacy start? Because a legacy is really life. When does life start, right? When does your legacy begin? It begins really at the beginning, isn't it? So we picked it up, we were talking a little bit earlier, at legacy building. Correct. You shared a story when you were
10 years old.
10 years old. Let's kick it off.
At 10 years old.
At 10 years old.
It's amazing that I would remember what I was doing at 10 years old, but I do remember this specifically because it was about my legacy. My mother, at 10 years old,
Marie, yeah?
Marie, my mom Marie, and there were some people that had the opportunity to meet my mother Marie, and if you had, you never messed with Marie. No way. When you made a commitment to something, you better do it. So I knew that at 10 years old that I wanted to be in student government, student body or whatever it was. And one day at 10 years old, my mother was a waitress, my father was a mason, and we lived upstairs from my grandmother's tailor shop. That's what we did. We lived upstairs from grandma's tailor shop. And one day I asked my mother if I might be able to borrow a quarter from my allowance. And she asked me what I did with the quarter she had just given me. And I said, well, my good friend needed 50 cents. So I didn't have it, so that's why I'm borrowing it. So she said, oh, okay, all right. So a couple of days later, she saw me, she watched me. We lived on a very busy street in Roselle Park, Westfield Avenue. She watched me cross the street, and she watched me with this little girl. Little girl came upstairs with me. And I said, Mommy, remember the 25 cents that I borrowed from you? I said, from my good friend. I said, this is my good friend. I borrowed it and she needed it. And then I reached over to the little girl and I went, what's your name? And my mother reminded me at age 60, she said, Carol, I want to remind you of a story as I've watched your journey in your life. And this was at age 60. That's who you are. You didn't know that little girl, but she was your good friend and she had a need. And you were willing to give her your allowance in advance. I'm so proud of you. I said, no, Mom, I'm proud of you because that's what you taught me about life and its journey. And that was kind of the beginning of what I think was my legacy of where my life and journey started.
Isn't that a beautiful story? Yeah. A lot of folks feel they're hesitant. They live in some area of fear or being held back from diving in and diving forward, that they can actually, just meet their own dreams and their own objectives. You were also sharing with me.
Oh, when I was 10?
Yeah, where you said nothing's holding me back.
Oh, no.
Because why? Because I'm a girl, right?
I was 10 years old and I knew instantly that my father was a mason. I was 10 years old and I would beg him to go to the job sites with him. And my job was to mix the mortar for the cement. I was so excited to get my hands dirty and mix the mortar for the cement. And then when I did it and watched the construction from the beginning, the foundation of a building or a home, and see the completion of it, it talked about life and its journey in general, whether it be buildings or people or relationships. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be in the construction at 10 years old. At 10 years old, that's what I wanted to be. And I dressed in plaid shirts and dungarees, and I thought life was wonderful. That's all I wanted to know about plaid shirts and dungarees that I could wear because I could be in construction, and that's what you did. And look at me today, 6-inch high heels and fancy dresses. God knows about the journey, but I often say life is like a GPS. It's always recalculating our route, and I can tell you a lot about it as we talk today about that journey, where it started and where it is today and where it's yet to be.
Thank you for that. In the mortar, it's a bit of a segue, but an easy one. There's grit, right? And a lot of folks talk about grit. TEDx speeches about grit. Masterclass is about grit. You exemplify that. You're talking about it from this story when you're 10 years old, where you're like, I want to do this. Is it coming from mentors, from family? Is it just something in your core? Like, how did that establish, and how would you define grit?
I think, to answer that question, certainly at 10 years old, all I can say is I think it's a belief in yourself. And it does certainly come from a support from a strong family environment at that point in time. At 10 years old, all I knew was that I wanted to be in contracting. I didn't want to wear fancy clothes, and all I wanted to do is to have things built and watch things being built. And I'll tell you a story, too, that my mother reminded me of. Again, as I may not have shared this, but I was in a car accident in 1983, and I was just pulling from a curb, and the car caught on fire. They had to get the jaws of life to get me out, and I went to the hospital, and I was in a coma for 6 weeks. And the priest came and gave me my last rites, and I woke up out of that coma, and my grandmother was there, and I said, Grandma, I have a twin sister. Marianne, is she here yet? Okay, I'll tell you about my twin sister. I only have one sibling, so this is a perfect time to tell you about my twin sister. If I didn't push her out of my mother's womb, soon to be 79 years ago, we'd still be in there. Not the right time, not the right temperature, not the right day. She should be here any minute now. Yep, any minute now. Did you arrive? She should be arriving anyway. But we're so very, very different. But in that moment in time, I knew where I wanted to go in tracking where in my business career and everything else. I just knew that I wanted to be in contracting. That's what I knew from my dad and my mother also. At 10 years old, my life took a journey, and my mother said, whatever you do, you make a commitment to. Believe in yourself. Remember those words. Believe. Don't let anybody tell you you can't be who you want to be. But I quote a phrase that says, life is like a GPS. It's always recalculating our route. Many of you that are sitting here today, I've said it to you. And we go down the road, we travel. It's comfortable. You like it. You know it. So you're good at it. And when you're good at something, you feel comfortable. And then one day as you're traveling down that road, somebody had the audacity to put up cones in front of that road and said, you can't travel down it. We're fixing it. Oh, no. Oh, no, you can't fix I got to go down that road. That's the road I know. I know everything about the road. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. Sorry. Got to go to the detour. Oh, boy. I go down the detour and I go, oh, I don't really want to be here. Two things can happen down that detour. You can say, I hope they fix that road real soon because I don't like this road at all. Or some of your life may be like that. But the other road is so beautiful, and you've passed it every day. Know why? Because you're on that road you felt so comfortable about. Never, ever be afraid to make a change, because you never know where that road's going to take you. Life lesson.
And why do you think folks fear change? Change is it's very palpable for folks.
I think because it's comfortable. I think it's comfortable. I think people are afraid to maybe make a mistake. People are afraid sometimes about what will people think about what I just did. I think you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe it. And you have to have determination. And even down that road you travel, let me tell you something. You're going to trip and fall a couple of times. You will. Just pick yourself up, because the best lessons in my life, and I can tell you, I've had a long life, 55 years with Stillwell-Hansen, soon to be 79 in October. I love my company. I love the people. They are the journey that I've taken. Stillwell-Hansen, if it were not for the people at Stillwell-Hansen, we would not have the reputation we have today. It's not about Carol Stillwell. It's about the culture that was developed through Gordon Stillwell that we have embraced and we've taken forward. So it's important. You have to figure out what speaks to you. It may not be that. Some people just want to sit behind a computer. They like that, and that's not a criticism, because we need all kinds of people in this world. We really do. But as far as I'm concerned, I have been with Stillwell-Hansen 55 years. 55 years. I started 1 month after I was married to my first husband, David. Stillwell-Hansen Incorporated in 1969. Gordon Stillwell was working out of his garage. He had 6 children and just didn't know where his path was going to take him. And he was a person that taught me so much too, my mother and Gordon, about believing in yourself, never being afraid to make a change in life. Believe in yourself. That believing in yourself, I think, is the grit that you have. You say, I'm going to do it. I am going to do it, and I'm going to make it. Because the day that sometimes you take a pause, you go, oh, I'm not so sure I can do this. That's okay. It's all right. You can even trip along the way. That's why I've made so many mistakes, and I'm still here today. I learned so much. The best lessons have been the mistakes that I've made along the way, and the journey, and the people that I've met.
Thank you for that. And when someone has a setback, maybe from your own experience, how do you look at it, analyze it, and benefit or profit from it? I don't mean profit financially, but profit from it internally and externally when there's a serious setback, that a tremendous car accident, there's a fellow who once told me, if we all took all our problems and we put them in the middle of the table, that we would take all our problems back, right? Those kinds of setbacks are life-changing. Did that reaffirm? Did it set you in on a different path?
I think, and I'll go back to the car accident, actually. I mean, the car accident was in '83, and as I said, I was in a coma. They gave me my last rites. And from my perspective, I believe that God had a mission for me. And I'm so glad that I stuck it out. I believed that there was a path for me. And when I got home, which I was told I would not be making it home, the priest came and gave me my last rites. 6 weeks in a coma. And they told me that, I said, I want to go home. You can go home when you can walk to the elevator. Every day I got up and leaned against the wall that led to the elevator, leaned against it, and just scooched it till I got to the elevator. And I said to the doctor, I'm at the elevator, take me home. And I came home in a hospital bed. And I did my work from a hospital bed, but because my work was my passion, my work was my commitment to the people had already made a commitment to Stillwell-Hansen. They needed me, and I, more importantly, needed them. I needed to know that I had a reason to get up every morning. And I worked from that hospital bed until it was time, and God provided for me to come back to work for Stillwell-Hansen.
Has that enhanced your levels of compassion for others because when you're in a leadership position, there's different styles of leadership, right? How do you bring, what's your leadership style? Or it's really just how you are, not so much a style, but what do you bring to a company that's so highly regarded for professionalism, for outstanding work and reputation? How do you inculcate that in an organization? For example, you have nonprofits that are in various endeavors, and other leaders that may be seasoned leaders that are thinking about reinventing their role, and others that are just getting started that really want to do a fantastic job. How might you define leadership, and how do you take that into the running of an operation?
Well, first of all, I think it has to start with a belief in yourself, first and foremost, and not being afraid to make a change. If you can't get past that, you're never going to get anywhere but where you are. So as far as I'm concerned, it starts with that, with a belief in yourself. And I will never forget, and I'll give you an example. The partner in the business was going to leave, Paul Hansen, and he was going to sell his 50% share of the business. And I've shared this with my colleagues, some of my other people that are sitting here today. Actually, many of you, 180, Turning Lives Around, HAPCOR, Habitat. What organization here have I not either spoke at or am not a part of? Now, well,
Arthritis Foundation?
Leave me your card. I'll be there next, I can assure you. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Everybody sitting here has something that they can share with somebody else. And I know I'm skipping around a little bit, but I can tell you what the greatest gift that you can do in your journey in your life is never forget where you came from, which was taught to me from my mother, never. And always, always remember to give back to your community and the people. Remember your mentors along the way. They are your greatest gift. So as I say to you and each and every one, that's probably why I'm involved so much in many of the non-for-profits today. I mean, starting with Lunch Break, Parker Family Free Health Clinic, you've named them all, 180 Turning Lives Around. It's because the greatest gift you can give is your time. People say, I don't have your money. First of all, you don't know what my money is. Second of all, I give it all away anyway, so it really doesn't matter. At age 79, what do I need? I've often said to many of my friends, if you've got a little wine cooler in your house, and I said you've got a clicker for your TV and a room for me, your biggest problem will be where to put all my clothes. Other than that, we're good. We're all good. We can figure it all out because it's just a belief in yourself. In my life, I have to say, and I'm skipping around as I think about this, I get up every morning and I say, thank you, God. Thank you. It's been a wonderful journey. I've seen, done, and met more people in my life that have really helped me mold into the person that I am today. It's about, but it is about character. It is about, you have to have a part of you that really is interested in people, inquisitive. You have to be involved in organizations, even when it's uncomfortable for you. There are people that don't feel comfortable doing that. Take that step. Take that step. You'd be surprised who you'll meet along the way.
Well, you know, part of what you're saying, it reminded me of different networking events. And you can go to 10 networking events, but if you talk to the same 3 folks that you know, because that's your comfort level, you haven't quite networked, have you?
No.
Because part of coming here, and the gal said it in the back, she's here to network. Put it right in your sleeve. I'm here to meet people. I'm here to build a business, right? So
I didn't even hear your name. Come over here a minute. Come over here a minute. Come right over here by me. Did you bring a business card? No? Okay, you're a student. There's your mic.
Thanks.
Now you're going to say on that mic who you are.
I'm Cecilia.
Talk loud.
I am in healthcare right now, but looking to transition to cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, whatever you're saying right now is like sinking so much into me because I've been in healthcare since college, and right now I'm pregnant.
Wonderful. There you are, healthcare since college, looking for where you're going to move next, and that's your GPS.
And
that's
this is my big leap.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, but this is the start of it, I guess.
Well, what did I say? Believe.
Yep.
You're going to do it.
Yep.
Say hello to all those people.
Hi, everybody.
And drop
talk to
off
me
a
because
card.
I'm shy, so come to me and talk to me maybe.
You're not shy. See, look at you. Just talked to a whole group of people.
and while you're up here, play podcast host. Ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to be very blunt and honest in my question. I feel like when we're trying to make a change, right? Trying to switch to a new career, everybody says, believe it. You can do it, like, get out there, do it. But, like, how can we really find, like, the path for it, you know? Like, where do we start? Like, is this it? Like, networking is it? Or I know there's a lot on the internet about it now, but, like, I believe it. What now?
What's next is what you're doing right now. You believe it. Where's the path? The path is all the people that are sitting here today. You'd be very surprised. There may be one person sitting in this audience that's going to talk to you about your future path. Or you have to communicate it. I don't care where you're going or what you're doing. I'm online at, well, not now. I don't go to the supermarket because A, I don't cook. B, I wouldn't know where to find anything down the aisles. Patty McCallie, you wouldn't know her, buys meatballs for me at Dearborn Farms and ties them to my doorknob. And then there are other people that make meatloaf for me and do it because I don't cook. I don't like to cook. But all you need to do is to just speak to one person, and you'd be surprised how those words may travel. You've got to believe. It's okay, but you may be talking to somebody that you feel has nothing to do with what you're doing, and they say, you know, my good friend is looking for a job, just like what you're looking for. She has a position. It's just about communicating. Believe. I know you're shy. When is the baby due?
November.
November what?
November 12th.
Oh, November 12th.
Very nice.
Could be, is it come maybe early? Could be a Scorpio, October
That's what
24th.
everybody's saying. I'm like, okay, I hope so, because Scorpios are fierce, right, apparently?
Well, they're fierce, they're determined, they're full of grit.
It can be a little difficult.
And they have a lot of passion, though. They have a lot of passion. Yes. You never know. She could have a little.
Well, I'm a Gemini, so
there you go.
I understand her passion.
Well, I Gemini's twins, right?
Yep.
I should have been a Gemini. Is my twin sister here yet? No.
Well, my husband is a twin, you know.
Real, see that? See? Now look at what we've learned about each other. Did you think when you arrived today you'd be standing talking to this group of people?
I did not.
Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube.
There
oh, Lord, really? Well,
okay.
Hi, Facebook.
Hi, there you go. Well, I want to thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
You go out there.
Big round of applause. Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much. This is what leadership looks like. This is what mentorship looks like, you know. It really is. And I'll just share a phrase I mentioned on occasion is the ripples in the pond. You don't know where things are going to go. I know we've done podcasts here where it's Heart Health Awareness Month, and the Hackensack Meridian folks are here, and we have cardiologists, surgeons, top flight folks from Hackensack Meridian, from Bayshore, that come in here and talk about even their own personal stories about getting a calcium score and then having open heart surgery within a week later in perfect health, telling that story right here. And so what does that do? There are folks that I know that have gone to the folks, the guests, because they realize they need to go get their health checked. And then they're finding out that they're 2 steps away from a widowmaker. And then they're getting healthy. And then they're going to thrive. So that's why I mentioned the ripples in the pond. You just don't know. You really just don't know. And it's interesting. Your trajectory is also going to guide your baby's trajectory.
That's right.
How interesting is that? From one meeting, in one location, in one place. Bell Works. Right?
That's right. Remember that. I'm going to be following that journey.
Now, do you remember a story that had, it changed the trajectory of something where, because sometimes it's hard to find a mentor. And sometimes the folks who are fantastic mentors, they're so busy doing what they're doing, perhaps that might be maybe something to comment on. How does someone who is, they're busy, they're at it, they're building, what's their mindset when you would say to them, look, you're a leader. Carving out that time to be a mentor, is that right? Is that
without a question? Just having this conversation today with this young lady, and again, I apologize for your first name again.
Cecilia.
Cecilia. I think they had a song named after.
Yeah.
Al, right? Wasn't there a song? You would know. You played on the piano. Cecilia, right? By the way,
Cecilia,
Al, I want to tell you, Al comes. I made the fatal mistake of saying last time we were here that I'm the oldest person sitting here today, until Al stood up and he challenged me. And actually, Al is correct. He is the oldest person here. And he comes here so that I don't have to be the oldest person. But he plays a mean piano.
Yeah, but you know what? Al's the best. But don't you really almost have to define age? What is age? I know folks that are, my mom's 87, 88, runs circles around the 20-year-olds at Boscov's. She works part-time in the where they have all the candy and the fudge and everything, and marvels at some of the folks that work. Maybe I should back off on that. But she's running circles. She's 88. She's tearing around. She's got the energy of a 20-year-old. So what is age, right?
Age is a matter of mind. It's an attitude. Al, what is age? You speak because you're older than me. You tell them what age is.
Youth has no age.
Youth has no age, and that's so very true. As I said, I'll be 79 in October. I think what drives me is to be able to look at everybody and know that there's a future going forward. My concern was, what is the youth of this world? Where are they going to be? What are they going to do? Because a big part of the young people today that I've met really don't have a direction other than they come in, they do their job, they do it well, they arrive at a certain time, and they leave at a certain time. They don't have it all wrong either, because many of us, and we come in, but we don't look at the clock. Whenever our day ends, it ends. It could be 10 o'clock at night. But think about the fact that tomorrow isn't promised to everybody. So sometimes when I think about, well, why is one of my people leaving at 5 to 5 or coming in at 5 to 9? Well, maybe they're not all wrong. You know, they do their job, they do it well, because tomorrow isn't promised to everybody. And what they're saying is, I'm going to work hard at what I do. I'm going to be able to do a good job. I'm going to meet people along the way. But when I leave and out this door, I'm going to embrace whatever's going on. You have to balance your life. I remember my late husband, Gordon, saying to me, he said that you have to remember to put yourself first. Gordon had a lot of words of wisdom. And I said, what do you mean? That's being selfish. He said, no. You must put yourself first in order to be in a good mind, physically, mentally, to go and move forward. Because if every day of your life you're putting somebody else in front of you, then you are taking a step back emotionally and physically. Remember to put yourself first, because you'll be stronger for everybody else.
Because then you could take care of other folks.
That's
That's
right.
why they talk about the airplane analogy. Put that oxygen on yourself first, so you can
right.
help your rest of your family.
Great analogy.
So you're very engaged in philanthropy over the years. What is about philanthropy or giving back that folks may misunderstand, or when they're thinking about it? Like, what's the some of the objectives when folks are giving back? And is philanthropy, is it financial, or is it so much, is it time?
No, I read the word philanthropy or philanthropist in the dictionary. It says it's about giving. It doesn't say about giving money. It's about giving. Somebody once said to me, well, if I had your money, I would do that. He said, but I don't. I said, you better think twice about what your most precious gift is. It's your time. It is your time. When people can give both, that's great. But the greatest gift and the people that I admire the most are the people that stop and give their time. Because tomorrow is not promised to everybody. And along that way, take a few moments to speak to somebody who's a little shy, that is new here, doesn't know anybody, or whatever it is. You'd be surprised where that journey may take you or take them. It's a precious gift. I share a story that some people have heard it. I'll repeat it again. 2, I walk into a little deli, picked up some bagels a year or 2 ago. Small deli, no bigger than probably a gentleman sitting at a table there. I nodded to him, got the bagels. As I left, I tapped him on the shoulder, reached for the doorknob, and I said, sir, you have a good day. And as I went to leave, he said, ma'am. So I knew I was old because he called me ma'am. Ma'am, yes. He said, I want to thank you. He said, I got up this morning and I asked myself, does anyone even know I exist or I matter? Thank you for reminding me that I do exist and that I do matter. That was a great gift. It wasn't about money. It was about taking a moment in time to realize that you were able to share just a hello with somebody. You'd be surprised. You see people walk by you every day, even in your own work environment, and they may be smiling, but really get to know somebody. Maybe they're smiling on the outside. They are not smiling on the inside. So the greatest gift that I have seen in my journey in my life is to be able to give of myself, my time. And that's why non-for-profits are very important to me. My mom taught me, and I repeated it before, Carol, I believe in you. When you get to where you're going, don't you forget where you came from. And you remember to give back to people and your community. And that's why I am involved in many of the non-for-profits. I sit on the Bayshore board right now. I love it. I've been part of, actually it was Meridian Hospitals, then HMH Hospitals, for well more than 20 years. But of course, I am going to be 79. You guys have a long journey yet to get there. But it's so rewarding. It really is. At times it can be exhausting, but that's okay, because it's what I think gives me the reason to get up every morning. That is what makes me feel good. Speaking to that young lady, that's what makes me feel good. It's a great feeling.
And it's all about perspective too. Like, you have folks that, when I was in high school, I thought 26, that was the end of it, right? And folks are 30 and they have regrets about different things, or 40 or 50, they have different things that they perhaps, maybe not, but think they want to do different. And one question is, what would you, if you were chatting with Carol a decade or 2 ago, or whatever decade you want to choose, what would you share? Like, for folks that would say, what would you say to your younger self? And sometimes you learn from what other folks would say to your younger self. And I'll give you an example while you're thinking about it. I would tell folks, don't give level 10 attention to a level 2 issue. Give level 2 attention to a level 2 issue. So if you get caught in the maelstrom of always giving level 10 attention to level 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 issues, very unhealthy, not productive. Give the proper level of attention depending on what the issue is, particularly if it may be controversial or an issue you have to address. So that would be like an example that I would share. I've shared with folks, don't give level 10 attention to a level 3 issue, a level 2 issue. What would you share to you?
Well,
Carol.
That's an interesting comment. I made an observation, or I made a comment to my vice president, who puts everything down on paper. He's got it down. Item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. And so I said, oh, let me try that, or whatever it is. Item 1 through 10. Right out of the chute, I'm on item 3. I skipped over 1 and 2. Well, why did I do that? And he said, I thought you put this, your priorities. This what it was at that moment. But something changed, and item 3 became my first priority because it was the most important thing at that moment in time. So that's the way I've lived my life in everything that I've done, is that I make a commitment. If I can't keep the commitment, I pick up a telephone and tell them why, because something has changed at that moment in time. I was in the Cayman Islands and was just getting ready to do something special in the Cayman Islands. I get a telephone call from a client, but a good friend, who said, I'm in pain, I need a doctor. He said, I have a hernia and I need a doctor and I need it right away. I said, oh, I happen to know a hospital or 2 or 3. And Dr. Dupree, who's part of the HMH system, and he happens to be at Riverview, and that's where, he would go to Jersey Shore, Riverview, or Bayshore. Any one of those 3 were his choices. And Dr. Dupree goes there. I said, Dr. Dupree would be a great doctor. Give him a call, give him our name, and I'm sure he'll take care of you. And so has he done that. And that's part of what makes me feel good, is to be able to reach out and touch people. I have another person sitting in the audience today. I won't mention her name, but she's sitting here. She was sitting at an event with me just yesterday. Or Sunday. Was it yesterday? I'm not going to call her out. When was that event? The person that I'm not going to call out. It was what? Sunday. And the next thing I knew, she said, I have to leave. I said, what's... Her daughter had fallen she had passed out, actually. And she had an issue with low blood pressure, that type of deviating of low blood pressure. And I called up Dr. Seelove. He said, send her right over.
He was a guest here.
That's right, he was a guest. And how did she make out? She has an appointment, right? Where you probably couldn't get one for a while. I said, Dr. Seelove, you told me anytime I had an emergency. He said, but you always have an emergency for other people, never for yourself. That is always for me, because these are the people who touch my life. These are part of our community. She has her appointment in 2 more days. So that's what it's all about. That's what makes me feel good.
That's awesome. That's very, very awesome, especially great news. So before we open it up to questions, I want to talk about a topic that, from my perspective, but perhaps I'm not in a role to say this, I think is a non-issue, and it's the breaking of ceilings, women in leadership. The difference are we still breaking down those glass ceilings? Do they no longer exist? Are they long shattered, or perhaps it depends on...
Let me just jump right in.
Okay.
Let me just jump in.
Because look at all the women in leadership that are here today, right?
Oh, they're here, but I can tell you they didn't get here like that. And let me tell you, it was with a lot of grit and determination.
So let's talk about that. Yeah,
without a question. Many times, and I can only talk about myself, sitting in a boardroom with 15 men and 1 woman, and not being addressed, hand up, wanting to be and not be addressed. But it's actually getting engaged, letting them understand that you care, you're involved, and you have knowledge. And it takes time. It takes respect. You have to earn respect. It's a tough thing. You got to earn it. But when you earn it, let me tell you, the telephone rings, and guess where it's ringing from when somebody wants an answer to a question? From one of the men that you met. I'm telling you, Gordon Stillwell was an advocate for that. He believed that you never measured the quality of an individual by what sex they were or who they were. You measured it by their input. You measured it but you also told them, speak up. He'd be in a room and I wouldn't say a word. This was when I was Carol Belford, I was Radonsky, then I was Belford, then I was Stillwell. But long before I was Stillwell, he said, speak up. I was never shy. I just was never given the opportunity. Sometimes you have to take the opportunity. You just have to take the opportunity and be able to speak up. You know who you are. You know when you don't speak up, each of you that are here, and I know many of you, have a lot to offer, And many times we're sitting in a room and we're bypassed by something or other. Speak up. Get engaged. That's my point.
So what might be the difference between obstacles and excuses, right? When we're looking to rationalize when something's going well or not so well, and trying to work on our own, solutions and tactics and our own business plans and building things.
Well, you're going to be faced with obstacles. Sometimes people will use the obstacle as an excuse. You've got to figure out a way to get around it. If there's an obstacle somewhere along the way, you have to think about somebody you have met that may be, for instance, say you want to work for a particular company, but you don't know how to get there, or you've put your resume in and there's 150 resumes. Maybe what you need to figure out is who in that company you may know, or who may know that company. You need to use the people that you've met along the way. You have to think outside the box. You have to start with believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you'll never sell it to anybody else. You'll just go away quietly and remain where you are. You gotta believe in yourself. And every time you hit a roadblock, you have to think, how am I gonna get around that roadblock? How am I gonna get around that roadblock? You've gotta figure it out. You've gotta figure it out. And if you don't know, call me. I'll help you.
And what do you do to push through when there's an obstacle that you just, it makes you want to give up, and you're like, you know what, I'm pushing through this? What might be an example for you?
Well, for me, women in construction. Women were not in construction in 1969. I was told I couldn't be in construction. I could, answering the telephone, and that was okay. I didn't mind doing that. And I also didn't mind, take a path. Whatever it is that you're told, no, you can't get there, then take whatever the path is that may lead you to where you're going. Just keep pushing forward. Just keep pushing forward. And if you still run into an obstacle, reach out. This is why networking is so important. This is why these types of meetings are so important. But it's also important to remember how you got to where you're going. Who mentored you? Who helped you? And remember to be that same person to somebody else. You just got to believe. You got to keep pushing forward. I mean, when I bought Stillwell-Hansen, the company was offered to me at far more money than it was to everybody else because the partner did not want me to have the company. And I said, well, okay, how am I going to do this? I emptied my 401k. That only got me to 1/3 of the way there. 1/3 of the way there. So I went to a bank. And I said, I know that, I'm young. I said, but I need to borrow $1 million. The bank looked at me. But the bank looked at how long I had been with the company. The bank also looked at how many community non-for-profits I was involved with. The bank knew about me. Mrs. Stillwell, not a problem. I got my $1 million loan for 7 years that I paid off in 3.5 years. And took my $500,000 that was in my 401k from 1983 to 1996, packaged it with the $1 million, and bought the company out. It's a belief in yourself, and when you hit an obstacle, you got to figure out how to get around it. So I called that bank up. Who would think, oh, I'm going to call a bank up and ask them for $1 million? What, am I crazy? Yeah, I am crazy. But I did it because what? Guess what? The only thing they could say is no. If I just did nothing, I wouldn't be here sitting here today. Believe in yourself. And believe in the people that you have met along the way. You know how many times I've gotten a telephone call that will say either, Mrs. Stillwell, you don't know me, but, and then I get to know them, or I have a problem. Can you help me? And maybe where I am within my company, I couldn't help them, but I knew where to go to get them their help. That has so much more value to me personally.
It's an incredible story. Are we writing a book?
Do you want to know how many people have asked me to write a book? I can't even begin. Every time I sit somewhere, somebody says, you should write a book.
Yeah.
Why don't you be the
I'll kick it off because there's going to be a chapter called The Podcast.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to open it up for questions a little bit, and then we're going to start wrapping it up. And the one item I love asking guests is, what's the next big thing? And so that's telegraphing that question, because it's always fun. It might be, maybe it's in business, maybe it's it may be anything at all. But we want to open up to some questions, or you might be some comments, between your peers here, because this is all of us here together having a conversation, and we just love that you're here. It's so awesome. So Jeannie, if we can open up to questions, take a few questions, and then we'll wrap up our summer ChamberCast.
Hi there. Thank you again for the time. Again, the advice and just insights is so incredibly valuable. I wanted to share a quick story and then ask you a question. I think last year I was 21 years old, had a large cyst about the size of a baseball on my back. Had it popped, whatever, was fine. They said, go consult with the hospital. Went to Hackensack. When can I you need to see you tomorrow, get surgery. I had an abscess and there was a strep infection going up my spine. I don't share this a lot. Wow. And I asked, can we push this back a month so I can keep working? They said, if you push this back a month, you would have died and you would have had sepsis. And it really puts life in perspective. And I think, Terrence, your point about perspective was really interesting, that we don't know what everybody else has going on in their lives, and you just keep chugging along and you keep going. But I guess my question to you is, what was your point of perspective that you learned after kind of your coma? How did that change your life, and how did you view it differently?
Interesting. When I was in the coma and came out of that coma, number one, and I'll share a little quick story. This haircut is a reminder. I had a bob style. Both sides were the same. When I was in the coma and had gone through a series of all types of testing and everything else, when I went to comb my hair, it started to fall out. I put the brush down. I mean, it just started to break right off. It came off. And I freaked out. I called my beautician, and he called out to L'Oreal out in California. I'll never forget it. And he said, tell her to wash her hair with liquid magnesium. It's a bonder. I said, I didn't know, but this was about the journey and the life. And I did, and it stopped breaking off. Obviously, it was not exactly like this. And I said, Graham, what am I going to do? She said, well, this is short. I said, I don't want my hair all short. She said, then just cut it off where it is here and make a style of it. This haircut has remained with me since 1983, when I had that car accident, as a constant reminder of the gift that God gave to me. He gave me this gift. He got me through that coma, and he said, you're here for a reason. And every day of my life, I reflect back on that. And this haircut reminds me every day of the gift that God has given to me, and I push forward because of that gift every day.
Wow. God bless you. That's incredible. Yeah. Want to keep on if there's a question, but I also want to invite one of our famous representatives from Stillwell-Hansen, anyone who wants to be the speaker there, to feel free to share a few words. Hey, the twin! Big round of applause. She's in the house.
This is my sister, Marianne.
Marianne, come on up.
Come on over here, Mare.
Come on up. Now,
here's
I hope I'm not in
Marianne.
trouble, because if I'm in trouble, no? Am I in trouble? Come on, sit down right here.
Come right over here, Mare.
Oh, no, don't worry. Sit down right
You
here.
don't have to speak. Just
Okay.
sit there, Mare.
All right, so now we can get started. Back from the beginning. Well, welcome. It's so great that you're here. Yeah, that's awesome. Isn't this great?
I told you she'd be here just a little late.
In the house. So we're at this part where we're doing this Q&A. I have this guest, Carol Stillwell. I don't know if you've heard of her. So a lot of people know her. Some people are getting to know her. Just teasing around. So we're having a great conversation. So great that you're here. And you guys obviously have so much history. She was talking about you. She was saying all kinds of great things. So we were doing some questions, but I want to invite one of the folks from Stillwell-Hansen to share a few words. A fantastic company and a fantastic leader. So whoever you guys voted before we finish, I want one of you guys to grab that microphone and share a few words. And if we have any other questions before that, there's himself. All right.
Oh,
woo!
Wait a minute.
There's our guy.
This is Chris, who was forced to come here.
Yeah.
By Robin, I think it was.
Here you go, Chris. You can use my mic.
So my name is Chris Ficcidomini. I'm with Stillwell-Hansen almost 21 years. A little bit about my quick story is I was working for a manufacturing company that went out of business, and I wound up losing my job. And at the time, my wife was delivering twins. So I was home with my children for the first 6 months, kind of running out of unemployment. And one of the guys that worked in our department said, hey, I might be able to get you in part-time, no benefits. And I started as a part-time technician, knowing absolutely nothing about fire protection. I am now the senior account manager for data site protection. I have rose through the ranks from part-timer to full-timer to project manager, superintendent, and then an offer was provided by Carol and Glenn for me to move from a technician role into a sales role. And I cannot say thank you enough for what you've done for me over the years. She is the most wonderful person to work for. She's very giving, as you have heard throughout the event today. It is just an awesome company to work for. So if you guys are looking for jobs, but she's absolutely a wonderful person to work for, and I appreciate everything you've done for me, not only for me personally, but my family and all the families at Stillwell-Hansen over the years.
Thank you, Chris. But you remember, it comes back twofold.
Oh, absolutely.
It comes back twofold.
No doubt.
It
No
comes
doubt.
back twofold.
And
Thank you.
And your clientele sees that ethos, right? How is that out in the field with the folks that you work with? Your top company in the state, you're looked to for the line of businesses that you're in. How that your clients see this, correct? They see this leadership. They see this ethos. Yeah.
Yes, they know who we are, mostly on the HVAC side, but on the fire protection side, it takes a little bit more drive because we weren't known as a fire protection company, but we are known as a HVAC. So we're trying to bridge that gap and continue to build our business from that.
Well, you just built it today.
I sure did.
Thank you, Chris. I will say this, too, that Robin, who, number one, does not want to be seen, does not want to be heard, and certainly doesn't want to have her picture taken. Did I get those three correct, Robin? Absolutely. Yeah, without a question. She has truly been what I would call the wind beneath our wings and encouraging us, talking. What I love about her is she always leads with a positive with Robin. She's our director of operations, always leads with a positive. And she's great with her leadership with her team members. She really is. But each one of my employees, I would say that, nobody has a favorite. Don't misunderstand this. But the controller who I asked for money, she probably could be one of my favorites, I think, yeah. And then the girl that writes the check, she's my second favorite. And Robin is truly the wind beneath my wings. She guides me, never wants to take any credit for anything. I think our people can speak for that. Is that correct, Team Stillwell? Yeah.
You betcha.
I thought she's
That's
wonderful.
awesome. Oh, yeah.
But
She's
it's been about our culture. Wouldn't you say that? The culture of Stillwell-Hansen is just what Gordon taught us about everybody is important, everybody has a place, and if they don't, then they're not here. But we haven't gotten rid of many people. There are a few that are still here, but we feel bad. They're old and they need a job, so we keep them there.
So you have twins.
I do.
We have twins. And you're a twin. Absolutely. So you're more low-key. You're low-key.
She spoke for me all our lives. When we were in school, she always spoke for me. I'd sit there I couldn't even give an oral book report in school, and she'd get up and start making me talk, and then she got kicked out of the class.
So you're a delegator.
Yeah, she delegates.
Yeah.
She delegates to
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Delegates to me,
I tell her what to do, and she does it.
And how's she doing?
She's doing fantastic.
Any
I
room for
wish.
improvement, or-
No, I wish I could be more like her.
No. What do I say to you? When we introduce each other, she starts the conversation by saying, "Hi, I'm Mary Ann Larkin, Carol Stillwell's sister." I said, "No, you're Mary Ann Larkin." That's what's important. Each of us have our own identity, proud of it.
Yeah.
If we were both the same, she does so much. I'm the one that goes out and is the communicator, is part of all of the teams that are here today. Marian's the one that does all the work behind the scene to get the baskets and all of the things. That's what her talent is. She never takes any credit for it, but that's what she does.
And when you were growing up, were you more low-key then, or was she always talk, or were you more the talker?
No, she was. I was an introvert. I never spoke. I walked down the street, looked straight ahead, wouldn't look from side to side. Somebody would wave and beep the horn, and I would just keep walking.
Well, we always see many times you're both at the same events, joining together to do great things and wonderful things. So let me ask you, or about both of you, what's the next big thing? Because there's so much on your plate. There's so many different requests, so much happening. What might the next big thing be for either your family or your business, or what you're sharing with the world to make it a better place?
Well, I can tell you it's not going to be having a baby at 79. I don't think that'll be my next big thing. We have a couple of things in the works here and there and whatever it is. I think at Stillwell-Hansen, as Gordon often said, we never sit still. And we never even know what the next big thing is until it's put in front of us. So sometimes, we don't create market, we follow it sometimes.
At the farm.
Well, we're having the next big, oh, that's a good one. See, Marion was very good about that. You see? Why don't you tell them what the next big thing is?
On October 23rd, we're doing Bayshore Hospital's Oktoberfest in our indoor riding ring on the farm where I live on Carol's horse farm. And we're doing that event to raise money for Bayshore Hospital.
And the funds will go toward the cancer center, right? Right, Marissa? The heart. Excuse me. We did the heart. You know why? Because we all have a big heart. That's why it's going toward the heart fund.
So, Marianne, what message would you like to leave for folks today? And Carol, from your collective experience, because part of what we're doing here is really kind of setting the table for leadership, talking about grit. During our life journey, there are different events, things that mold you, things that challenge you, things that you overcome. Right? Yeah, go. That's why we're here.
I have a story. In what year was it that I moved in with you? We sold our home on Tacloose.
1991.
Yeah.
1991.
Yeah. And my late husband Gordon and I had a beautiful home on Tacloose Drive in Homedale. Beautiful home. And the business and the economy had changed drastically. And it was a beautiful home. We loved it very much. But we sold it for less money because the economy had already dropped. We moved in with my sister for over a year. And the reason we did that was we did not want to lay off one employee, because we knew the loss of their job would have far more impact than a house. Because at the end of the day, a house is just a house. It's the people that make a house a home. It's the people that make an organization a home. It's the people that make a structure a home, not the building itself, not the foundation itself. It's the people. We sold that house, moved in with our sister, never laid off an employee, and then about 9 months later, we bought in Bow Ridge. So that was something that had a big impact on our life, and yet it never was a sacrifice. It was never a sacrifice because it was about the people.
In leadership, it is about the people, and leadership is really generational. And it started, didn't it, with Marie, your mother?
It started with our
Tell
mother.
us that story. Lift that mic up.
Our mother wore $2 shoes so that Carol and I could have clothes and do things. We couldn't do things that all the other kids did in school because my mother couldn't afford for both of us to go to any class trips or anything. But we were taught that no matter what we had or didn't have, somebody had less. And every weekend we went to the orphanage in the next town and bought the stuff that we had, even if we had it for a couple weeks, because my mother said that no matter what we had or didn't have, somebody had less, and we had to give that stuff away. We didn't need it anymore. And that's how we were raised. We were always raised to give back from when we were little. My sister and I slept when we were young. We lived in a two-family house. We walked down the alleyway. There was no driveway. You walked in, you were in the kitchen. It was 10 by 10. The room to the right was 5 by 8, my great-grandfather. There was no living room, no dining room. The bathroom was 5 by 5. You walked into the room to the right. There was a full-size bed my parents slept in. There was a flip couch that my sister and I slept on till we were 8 years old in the same room as our parents. Then you walked into the next room, my grandmother and grandfather were there. There was no living room, no dining room. You went to the basement, there was a full-size table. Everything was done in the basement. All the eating, anything. There was a washer, dryer, refrigerator, stove, and that we lived that way till we were 8 years old, 9 years old, and then we moved upstairs in the two-family house. And then we had a living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. We shared that bedroom till we were 22 when she got married to her first husband, Dave. And that's how we were raised.
So you know what the message is for folks, and you can answer this question. What holds anybody back? Absolutely what?
Nothing.
Nothing. Is that true?
Carol worked 4 jobs. I worked 3 jobs. And I'm going from 1964, when we got out of high school. I made $64.50 a week, and I walked from one town to the next to get a bus to go to work in Newark. And I worked in Newark during the riots. And then she worked. She worked she would go to work in the office building Stillwell-Hansen was in. Downstairs, work from 6 or 7 in the morning to 9. Go upstairs to Stillwell-Hansen, work from 9 to 5. Leave there and go to Ronda Music on Route 22 and work there from 6 to 10 at night.
Wow.
And I worked, and this one, I worked full-time job, 40 hours a week. And a lot of people don't remember this store. I left there and went to work, 2 guys from Harrison, before it became Bradley's, and worked there 40 hours a week.
2 guys, yeah.
But a lot of people today don't know. It's a department store similar to Walmart, but that was the first department store, really. And then I left there, and then when my husband had Columbus, I also did the books for the business and went and do planting of stuff. We both worked 2 jobs for almost 30 years.
So,
This is the shy one who has
right.
nothing to say.
Yeah. But you know what you're hearing is that success is not a straight line. No. Right? Success is not a straight line. And success is defined in many different ways. It may be financial. It may be. It may also be having a loving family, right? How do you measure success? Are you remembered for who you are, what you did, what you developed, how you cared for people, how you treated children? How did you mentor folks? How do you help nonprofits and help folks that maybe will never even know that you helped them, right? So that's what today was about and is about. It's about hearing stories, personal stories, and thank you very much for sharing them. That life is not a straight line, but we do draw it in many ways ourselves, don't we? Sometimes somebody might jump in with a highlighter, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But
I don't know if I wasn't here earlier, so I don't know if Carol said this.
They
but
already know why you were late, honey.
No, that's not what I was going to say. Carol always says that anybody can write a check, but it's the people who give of their time. Time is more precious, and we're not guaranteed it every day. We don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. Trust me, I know that. I had that experience. And time is very, very important to all of us.
Yeah.
That
was part of the first part of the meeting.
Well, I wasn't
missed.
here, so
That's
I
right.
don't know.
But I told them about time and stage 4 colon
Well, that's
cancer.
why I have you in my life.
That's right. Right.
So they're going to start an MMA league, right? And women's MMA? Perfect. Well, listen, this is about investing your time with the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, ChamberCast, Summer Edition. We hope that you've enjoyed the time here today. And would you like to leave any parting thoughts that you want to...
Well, first of all, what I want to say quite candidly, not because you and Jeannie are here, is that I made a comment to Jeannie that she should actually be sitting up here with me, because I've learned so much about our community because of the tap-in. I don't tap into home, tap into railroad, all the tap-in. She takes the time to do that. She educates us. She shares. She gives 100%. And if it were not for her, I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful to the both of you, truly. But I said to Jeannie she should be sitting next to me. We almost were going to be in the same color dresses, but we didn't. Is your mic on? That? Yep.
I want to say it's a privilege to know you, Carol, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I want to thank you for being your authentic self, because you're real, you're the real deal, and we don't see a lot of the real deal anymore. And to see you, Mary Ann, too, is wonderful. And I love seeing you both together, because Terrence and I have twins, and you are our Maria and you are our Charlotte. So it's true, right, Terrence?
Yes,
the way,
yes,
yeah. And we appreciate all that you do so much in the community. And you have, I think, the most positive impact on this community. You've changed lives. And you haven't just changed the lives today. It's the ripples in the pond, like you said, Terrence.
Yeah.
You've changed generations, really. And thank you so much for everything that you do. You're so appreciated.
I want to thank you both, truly, very much, Terrence. That's what I was trying to say, that it is so appreciated. And the podcasts that you do, I've come and listened to many of them and the events that are here. But it takes time. You have a job. You do what you do. But this is an important part of what you do. And so we're grateful. We're very grateful. I am grateful, and the people that are here are grateful for sure.
Oh, Carol, Marianne, we love you guys. And folks, did we all have a good time today? All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Therese wants to mention something from the Chamber of Commerce upcoming events. If you haven't joined, please join. It's a fantastic organization. Therese.
I just want to say this was a special moment right here to have both of you sitting side by side. Unexpected. First of all, the unexpected connection to Cecilia. You kicked off the meeting in a fabulous way. So I also gave her my card so we can stay in touch and I can see how I can help her as well. Because my favorite thing to do is to collaborate and bring people together. That's what the Chamber is all about. I want to thank Carol. I want to thank Marianne. I want to thank Terrence and Jeannie, because this doesn't happen without the two of them. Every month they bring us amazing podcasts to share with everybody. And if you see the podcast online, share it with somebody. This is a great. Carol, you spoke at our luncheon last year. You outdid yourself today. I can never get enough of you. I love you so, so much. And everybody should aspire to be a Carol Stillwell. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, David Copperfield has nothing on everyone in this room because this was pure magic. Round of applause for our guest, Carol, Marianne. Thank you so much for being here. And if you guys would indulge, if you could come up for a quick photo, it'll only take a moment. We'd really appreciate it if you can stop up. And Mink, thank you as always. Mr. Zucker, you're awesome. We'll talk to you soon. All the best.